My YouTube changed a lot over 6 years now. I started in 2020, and I have changed also over those 6 years. And for those of you who just came to this channel, like recently, you might think, why I see some of the old videos which don't quite match to who you are, you know. And maybe you also joined a long time ago and now you see that I'm not the woman you subscribe to, so to say. Yeah? So I think you really need like more deep explanation of what happened to me and what happened on this channel and why it changed quite a lot, and why now I really focus on people who are in their midlife or, you know, the second half of life. Very many people who come here like Gen X or boomers and some millennials, you know. And also I focus more on analog life, on, you know, the natural aspects of it, and also connecting to real human beings, you know. So it's not that this was never my topic, it always was. It's just I shifted the focus, and I had my also personal transformation, because I came on YouTube when I was 42, 6 years ago. At that time, now looking back, I realized I had this, you know, midlife crisis I was not aware of, meaning that I was transitioning from one part of my life into another without really understanding what's happening. Because when you're in this transition between like being a young person to something else which you still don't know because you are kind of not there yet, you know, at 42, it was not something, I needed time to digest the process and the understanding of what's coming. So my identity also changed, because at 42 I still felt like I'm still belonging to that young person kind of identity, which I don't have now anymore after 6 years. And like being in your 40s, it's the biggest transformation in your life, I think, because it's really going from being young to being mature. Yeah. And this is what was starting to happen to me. And you can see this transformation on this channel. And now I feel as a mature person, you know, in my late 40s. I'm not more a young person. I'm definitely middle age and in my second, you know, act, as they say. Second half, yeah, second act, second half of life. And I'm quite aware of this now, and my identity and the way I feel and the way I talk to you, mature, thoughtful people, 40 plus mostly. It's not always about age, but about the maturity, about, you know, appreciating our roots and tradition and real things and deep things and meaningful things, not artificial, superficial, fast changing, you know, things. Not this, but real depth. And therefore, you know, now you can find videos where I really lean deeply into some also personal experiences, you know, that has to do with connecting to other people or finding your own like truth and connecting to yourself, you know. Now you can really find those deep and personal kind of conversations on this channel, because this is like what I lean to now. And one of the reasons is also that these 6 years on YouTube, what they gave me is the possibility to slowly open up as a person, because I'm an extreme introvert. And now if you look at me now, how I talk, it's very different to how I used to talk on YouTube 6 years ago. Now the way I talk, I feel it's me. I feel like I'm talking like that's how I would talk to in a normal life, not to a camera. And 6 years ago is when 6 years ago when I started on YouTube, I felt so stiff and artificial each time I switch on the camera. It was not me, even though I was talking about the things that were important for me, but it didn't feel like me after all. And also, I never liked sharing like my life experiences in general in life. I would not like talking about myself, and I still don't. But I've learned over years also here on YouTube that when you start to be more open and lean into your personal insights and personal experiences, people also start to open up back. And this is what happened to you. And that's one of the reasons I'm so thankful to you guys, because many of you started to answer and to open up in the comments and really to reply and to talk, to go into conversations just maybe a year ago or even less, so you started to open up back, and this is what gave so much also to understanding and insight for me, because I understood what you see in me and what resonates with you, because I'm not a young person anymore. Yeah. And I had to go through this transition over those years, and now also to see that what you see now is a mature person, a grown-up person, who went through also different parts of life, and now I'm more and more open, and you start asking questions, and I feel like I want to talk about things in my life which I usually wouldn't think that I should talk, and also just about my life, like the fact that I was born in the Soviet Union and the struggles I had in my childhood, and then also coming to the West and seeing the differences and exploring the West in general, and then also becoming grown up and getting grown up experiences, like going into business and business world and marriage and all this, and usually this is not something I want to share, and especially not online like this. But this is something that you seem also to have interest in. Yeah. And this is something you can relate and resonate, because even though you had different experiences, but there's something in my life experience that kind of resonates with you, because I love nature, or because I love natural ways and traditional ways, or some even conservative, you can say, ways of living. I lean into real experiences, meeting, learning real things and traveling and meeting real people and connecting to them, and also going through this process of opening up to other people. All this somehow also resonates with you, and it's important for me, and always been. What my channel has always been, by the way, it was always, if you would describe it with one word, this word would be freedom. I'm obsessed with freedom since I was a child, and especially when I went to the West and I realized that material world is not the answer, that people still suffer, and It was a big surprise to me to realize that actually what happens in your mind, your mindset, your level of your awareness is this. This is what matters more than you think, and that's why I started also meditating already 97. You know, because I realized I have to also pay attention to what's happening to me, to my, how I deal with my thoughts and feelings and what comes out of it, and with other people too, how I connect. So this topic of being free, especially when it comes to your mind, has been like the main topic throughout my life, And also nature is like the first impressions I have from my life is from the coast of the Sea of Japan. And I'm like around 2 years old, and with my family and my parents and my sister, we walk in the nature with beautiful scenery, beautiful ocean, beautiful forest. And being like around 2 years old, from my memories, the grass was so huge, because I was so small. So the grass felt so huge and so green, and everything is so like, you're like Alice in the Wonderland. Everything is just magic, those best and first experience from my life in this life as a child, it was walking in this beautiful nature, and this was so fascinating, and it's still one of the most fascinating things for me. It's also where I feel this freedom, because when you are in nature, you kind of let go of all things which are not so important. You are just there in your natural way, with your natural pace, and just being aware of all this beauty and all this power of the nature and the natural world, So this was always on my channel, and I really lean more and more into this part of me, which is like the core part of me, of who I am, since I remember myself, natural being, and being free, in no matter what kind of circumstances. And circumstances in the Soviet Union were not so nice. So I had to also learn how to overcome some difficult situations and going through struggles, including financial, crisis here and there. I mean, it's still the way we live, isn't it? Just we had a few decades of life which looked so stable that one could think that the world is stable, but it's not. It's really not. And going beyond what is changing, looking at the core essence of what makes us human, beyond our job or business opportunity or family status, things that we identify with so much. And those are important things, of course. Family and business is very important. I also talk about this on this channel. But there are things which go beyond. There are things in you, and your identity as a human being is beyond any kind of marital status, or like beyond if you're single or married, or, or beyond your job title. And people who retire, they realize it, that their identity is kind of lost because they lost their activity they used to do. So these things, things which are permanently important, really important, that really have meaning, real things, human things which feel natural and free, this is what I lean more and more, and this is who I am, It's one of the reasons I think I'm on this channel still after so many years and without having like a real result, so to say, is because I'm leaning more and more into things which I naturally like. Yeah. And seeing that you resonate with this and that you also like it, finding this tribe online, it's quite fascinating. It's also surprising because when I start, first I was artificial myself. Second, I was talking and leaning more into things which of course are important, like business oriented and stuff. It's also an important part of life, but they were not the most like core identity, it was not like at that time when I started the channel, like the year before, I started also being active on Instagram and also making a traveling account for my mom. She still loves it. She's traveling in her 70s. She still loves Instagram, Surprise, surprise, even being a baby boomer, you can love Instagram. It is, by the way, also linked in the description if you want to check it out. She's amazing. And it was quite successful with Instagram, and I started leaning into this, and I was very fascinated by the fact that no matter what kind of passion you have, you can really reach people online. You can share your journey. You can really also sell whatever you want, whatever you're passionate about. Yeah. So this aspect, this business aspect of social media was very fascinating. It's still fascinating. It's just, it's not so, there are other things which I wanted to talk about, and I was talking here and there, but I couldn't like formulate it and describe it very well, I guess, and truly lean into it. And those personal experiences also related to it. So I was kind of like doing YouTube without being fully there. And this is what has changed also on this YouTube, and is changing because I'm still in the process. I'm still trying to open up. I'm still trying to lean to my own experience, and share it more and more, share my journey more and more, even though it's really going beyond what is comfortable for me. It's going beyond what, I never liked sharing this. So this channel has become more and more personal in this case, more natural and more human in a way. Yes. And maybe you notice the shift and you're thinking, maybe some of you younger people, who subscribe to me, watching some short video, me walking on the beach, and now seeing this mature woman talking, and you think like, who is that? And also, I've changed. Those 6 years made a lot of change in me. I'm in my mid-life, and in the second half already. Unless I go as old as my grandma, who's already 99. It's not that I want to grow that old, actually. But for majority of people, late 40s is already passing the midlife when you look at the average lifespan. And also YouTube changed itself, and social media in general. So when I started, I was more fascinated by social media and this connection, and now it's more about algorithms, and they just show you what they want, not what you are interested in. And actually, even though they say the opposite, but you subscribe to people and you never see their content, They don't let you choose your interests. They think they know better because they are very smart, So this changed also a lot. And this also influenced the way I feel about social media itself, you know. So it has its benefits, but it has the faults. And now with artificial intelligence coming in place, and it all happened in those 6 years. Many things change, you know. Me as a person, what I want to talk, and how I connect to you, and how you started to connect to me, and YouTube itself, you know, all the things change in those 6 years quite dramatically, I would say. I mean, you know what I mean? Quite a lot. So it's no surprise that I also changed on this channel, yeah. Even though my core values didn't change, but the focus and also the style, because I became more natural talking to the camera, like I would talk to anybody. What I really learned over those 6 years, I think, is talking to the camera like you would talk to anybody. Yeah. Now, when I look at my videos, I see me the way I am. Though this camera, I'm making the video from my phone now. This camera making everything a little bit more red. My skin looks more red than it is. It's this fine, you know, red kind of color. But if you check my videos that I make from my camera, my real camera, Canon camera I bought some years ago, there I look exactly how I look in real life, you know. I have like really pale skin and not so much red, but more pale, more white, so to say. But what I meant is not so much how I look, even though it's also good to know that the camera is actually showing who I am, but also the way I show up is very natural, like now. And again, 6 years ago, it was like I was a different person, and I also could not be natural on camera, even though I tried my best. But funny enough, many topics I still, you know, like 5 years ago, you see me making a lot of videos in nature and enjoying nature so much and traveling in different places, and there also filming the nature and leaning into this personal development and mindset and everything. So I was still the same, but with a different shift. It was more, again, business oriented and more stiff and not being able to be natural on camera and all of it. And still so fascinated by social media, because it was a social media, you know, you could connect and see the content of people you subscribe to. And now it's very hard, you know, unless you go to the subscribe part. But otherwise, things you see in your feed is like a lot of nonsense and artificial stuff, which I would never subscribe to, you know? So, cheers. So, if you feel like you see my old videos and you cannot connect it to the modern version of me, then now you know why. And also, if you subscribed a long time ago and now you feel like this woman who likes to talk deeply about stuff is not so much my vibe, then it's also okay. Then, I mean, it's your choice. I would love you to stay, but you don't have to, because I'm not going back. I'm only moving forward, you know. I'm not going back to who I was. I'm also not becoming younger, for sure. So the topics will become more and more mature, more and more leading into my real experience, more and more opening up as I am, you know, or at least trying. Let's see if I manage. So you're not going to see my old me here. And I invite you to stay, but if not, then it's also good. It's all good, yeah. I will understand if you decide to, like, that this is not so much your cup of tea. Anyway, I thought you deserve this, absolutely deserve this explanation. And so that you have like the picture of what is this channel about and why it changed so much, you know. And I hope this video helped. Again, thank you so much for all your comments that also made all of this so clear to me. Understanding what resonates with you and how you react to also any kind of critical comments, you know. Please, critical thinking and free thinking is very important. Unless it's a hateful comment, but you're not going to make a hateful comment here. So please go ahead and share what you think. Like, do you like this new version of myself or new me, so to say? Yeah, the way I am, I grew up, the woman I grew up into, or also the way I managed to present myself in a more natural way, basically. Yeah. Or maybe you miss the other version of me. There are a few people who've been watching me for quite some years now, 6 years. Some of you are from the very beginning here and you're still watching. So it looks like you still enjoy it. I would like to hear from you, yes. And if you like it, then I will also see you in the next video. Thank you for being here.